Super GT returned to Sepang for the first time in a decade recently, and what better time for me to review it than the week after the following round of Super GT. Just casually 6 weeks after, but I have some thoughts. I'd like to go through them. Starting off, it was 2013 the last time Sepang featured in Super GT, but it's the first international race for Super GT since Thailand in 2019. It's good to see Super GT return back to a former championship venue in the case of somewhere like Sepang, and it's great to see it go international as well. What I really like about National Series is when they choose to do one international round a season. Sometimes the series can afford it, sometimes they can't. We're finding more series that aren't able to now. But when you're finding that a series is strong enough to be able to do that, it just bodes well for the future health of it. And it bodes well for the future health of a track venue as well. Sepang is one of those ones that has not been able to climb back up to the kind of accolades that it had when it was hosting the F1. And a lot of fans want it back. It's great to have international racing there, and it's great to have some of the biggest series in the region go to visit as well. However, there are some limitations for Sepang, unfortunately. One of them is not all of the GT300s were able to make it to the event. And it was a shame that all of them were able to, but it was unfortunately the case. That's because of the limitation in pit stalls. I know Sepang has 2 pit lanes, and both of them are on the 2 longest stretches. One's a pit straight, one's that run to the final corner. But it wasn't able to house all of the GT300 cars, so we had quite a diminished field there. And it is a shame. It would be nice if it was able to do that, or if there was a way, if costs were an issue for some entrants, to be able to get those costs subsidised in a way. Because it's good for these venues to have as full a field as possible. It can create so many different stories, it can create so much action to follow throughout the field. However, at the same time, whilst there was some action in the race, there were a couple of battles that went on over the course of the race, and some that were quite close at the end. For example, the Wed Sport for 5th ahead of Stanley Team Kunimitsu. It was also a bit processional at times. Like, the Deloitte TGR car won by 19 seconds. There was very little questioning the likes of Alesi and Sasahara when they held off Matsushita and Najiri. But it was nice to have 3 different manufacturers on the podium, with the podium being rounded out by the Impul of Baguette and Hiramine. It was really nice to see something like that happening. Likewise, when you look at the GT300, you have the Up Garage Mercedes, the Saitama Green Brave Supra, but then you do have a different Mercedes on the podium there. The Good Smile Racing one ended up getting 3rd from the J-Lock Lambo, and then the GR86 GT300. But overall, that is the kind of racing that racing at a track like Sepang unfortunately does produce sometimes. It looks spectacular, but it doesn't promote close battling. And that's the kind of trade-off that you need to find in motorsport, is how much of it do you want to have the kind of close racing that you see somewhere like Okayama, especially for this season's Super GT where Okayama was wet, and how much you just want to see impressive fast racing like you get here at Sepang. That's a trade-off that you will probably find as a fan. For me, it's nice to have some of one and some of the other. It's nice to have a Fuji and a Okayama. It's nice to have a Sepang and a Motegi. That's the kind of thing that I'm thinking of. Either way, folks, those are my thoughts, feelings, and observations. As always, thanks so much for watching and joining, and until next time, it's bye for now.